Hey, welcome to North Idaho Experience. In today's episode, Eric and I sit down with his mom. Yes, I said that right. His mom. This is actually a really cool episode. Eric's mom is more badass than your mom, probably my mom. She was a cop, Spokane PD for 25 years. So she's going to tell us a bunch of stories coming up as a female in Spokane PD. And she's got some wild ones, including getting shot while on duty. So really good. Nice to hear both of their perspectives while we talk through this. And she's got a lot of wisdom and experience in the law enforcement career that obviously carries over to civilian life as well. So give it a listen. Promise you'll enjoy this one. And remember, if you guys are thinking about making the move up here, we specialize in helping conservative families find their freedom in North Idaho. And also check out our app. That is, the link will be in the show notes there so you guys can download that. It's useful for home searching, has tons of resources for the community on there as well. Check that out. Let us know what you think. And please drop some comments, leave a review, all the things. We appreciate it. That's what keeps this machine rolling. Thank you guys. Enjoy the show. Well, thank you for joining us. I'm excited to have you as Eric's mom.
Yes,
Eric's mom. I'm gonna plug you a little bit. Like, you're cooler than most people's moms out there. You've done more.
It is nothing short of a miracle that I am still here after having raised and tolerated that dude for 43 years, I believe it is.
I think it's more amazing that I'm still here. She reminds me all the time that I would cease to breathe if I didn't make her laugh. That's been a recurring thing for a long period of time.
That was so true.
I wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
Oh, I feel like you were.
No, I really wasn't. Not for a while. And then I made up for lost time.
Okay.
He was actually really good until about 16.
Yeah.
That's about the age, sophomore-ish in there?
It was all bets were off.
Should I tell them?
What? Tell them what?
Let's see.
That he was in the back of a police car before he's in the front?
That's accurate.
Well,
do you know about that?
Let's see. What was it? It was girls and weed.
Yeah, that checks out.
Yeah,
that's all in my background.
So wait, what's the problem here?
It's like, what happened to this kid anyway? People want to tell me weed doesn't make an impact. Oh my God, I can tell you that it makes an impact. But anyway, it all rolled out okay.
Is that how he got the crippling ADHD that he has now?
I think that's just God-given, dude.
Yeah, that's just a product of the 80s.
Yes.
Well, let's blame that one on the military.
Yeah.
I didn't remember it being a big deal, but then at the time I was still working, so I was probably a zombie a good part of my life and missed out on a lot of things, which ended up being okay because you never would have survived.
That's true.
You would have
became very resilient.
Beat you into oblivion.
That's right. But no, yeah, I do remember that when I was a kid. There was a lot of graveyard shifts. You worked graveyards for a long time. But I think that was the way it was then. Like, you had to cut your teeth.
Well, I mean, right, because Terry, did you start in law enforcement like similar to when he was born? How long had you been working before he was born?
I started in 86, but I was a reserve. I went through the reserve program in 85.
So he was
only 2 or 3.
He's just a little guy.
Yeah.
Just a little chubby little guy.
Yep, he's still a short guy, but boy, does he come by that, honestly.
Yeah. Easy.
Whoa.
Awesome.
Mama.
28-inch inseams. It's not my fault. You're short, stubby legs.
Honestly, it's not your fault. It really isn't.
I've always wondered, I was fortunate. So I was the cop in my family, and my wife was a stay-at-home mom, which...
good for both of you.
Yeah, and I'm glad we could do that, but I look at there were plenty of families, people I knew that maybe both parents were cops or whatever, or a cop and a firefighter, or a cop and a nurse, whatever. And I'm like, how the heck do you do it? Because there's so many times I'd get called in, and thank goodness my wife's just available. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. How the heck do families manage that?
Well, with our situation, his dad was more available than I was, and I was working graveyard, and kids were sleeping, so there wasn't that much responsibility there. But when court is necessary, mandatory, and boy, you did not call in and say, geez, I can't make it.
Right.
That wasn't an option. Then he would have to cover. But there was enough availability and movement in there for him to make adjustments. So I was pretty lucky in that regard.
Yeah.
And he could do some things from home. And
she also just didn't sleep.
Well, yeah.
That was common.
It comes with the territory of having a young kid and being new in law enforcement, I think, and working graveyards. You just don't sleep.
And you don't realize the impact that has.
Yeah.
You just don't, because you need to do your domestic, if that's even...
Don't yell at me. Hold on. I'm going to put it right there.
There we go. There. Okay. Perfect.
That's going to move.
I know. I feel like I'm
imprisoned
here.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or I'll pretend I'm on the witness stand.
There you go.
Hold still.
Hold your right hand up.
Repeat after me. Absolutely.
You really don't know the impact that has, maybe until later, if you take the time to reflect.
Yeah.
Sometimes in this career, if you reflect too much, it can definitely impact the present. So you realize the mistakes, you recognize the choices, and you made them, and you have to live with them. And that was part of it. If I get home at 7 a.m. and I sit in my rocking chair, and we all know I love rocking chairs, while they eat breakfast to stay awake long enough to get them to school.
Yeah.
And then come home and crash, and then hope you're not called back because they're sick or something like that. But honest to God, I never sat and thought about, oh, poor me, how can I handle this? You know, I signed up for it as a parent, first and foremost. And then in any career, whether it's a cop or working in a restaurant, when you sign that dotted line, you sign up for some inconveniences.
Yeah.
And that's how I chose to look at it is, this is just an inconvenience. 2 hours of sleep, that's normal.
Yeah.
But it wasn't.
Just drink more coffee. It's
yeah,
fine.
absolutely.
I was a coffee drinker. Well, I still am a
I
coffee
imagine
drinker.
you have to be. What? Okay, so you got into law enforcement in '86.
Yes.
But you were reserved before that. But
Yes.
so around that time,
Yes.
what was it like for a woman getting into law enforcement at that time? Was it common?
It was not.
Yeah.
There were, however, a couple of women working at the Spokane Police Department. But there, if memory serves, at the time, there were only 2 who were in patrol. Most women started out in the juvenile detective division. They did not work patrol. So when it started, of course, my eyes were glued on the ones in patrol. That's why I did this, because I thought patrol would just be awesome. And it was, in all honesty. I loved it. And so those 2 were there. One ended up in a huge lawsuit with sexual harassment, things like that. I can't say anything about it because I really don't know.
Yeah.
The other one was a career role model for any woman that came at the time. I went in, and after me, she did her job, period. Plus, she was hilarious, which never hurts.
Are you talking about Sue?
No. Oh, Sue was after me.
Yeah.
Judy.
Oh, yeah.
Carl, and she ended up being a captain. But she just had a way of looking at situations and dealing with people that you could do nothing short of admire. So there were plenty of males that didn't welcome women. The most welcoming ones I had, and I was 33 when I went in, so I was a little older, right? I sort of had an idea about what I was getting into and what life was about, and who I was, all of that happy stuff. And the best ones I had, honestly, were Vietnam veterans. They were amazing. One was Special Forces. Another one may as well have been. And these guys were absolutely amazing in terms of if they were judging, they didn't vocalize it.
Yeah. And those would be the guys I'd want behind, my back.
Well, you were so grateful.
Right.
I'll be honest. Any officer, male or female, that welcomed you, or at the very least didn't set obstacles up in front of you, was a blessing. So to have a couple that looked at you like, God, you're so short. You're just not big enough for this job. You're going to get your ass kicked, which, I probably could have a couple occasions, but I was always smart enough to wait for backup. If they didn't, you just knew they had to be wondering, but they never vocalized it.
Yeah. What was Spokane like back then? What was the crime level? Was it a relatively safe city or not?
I would say it was, because this was in the late 80s. It was so much fun. Jeez, it was fun. It was so much fun working.
I think that's the universal feeling that we all have when we look back, especially like looking back on working graveyards for me.
And it was graveyards.
Pre-body cameras.
Right. Yeah. I mean,
well, I'll admit, when they talked about body cameras initially, and I was well out of patrol by then, I went, ugh.
Yeah. I can't say all that.
Man, there's going to be a lot of people that have to change their vocabulary, but possibly including me. But it was a lot of misdemeanor activity. Mm-hmm. Alleys are the corridors of the devil, so we would always be creeping down alleys, because you're not in alleys during graveyard hours unless you're doing something you shouldn't be doing.
Normal people are not there at that time of night. Yes.
So if you saw anybody, you immediately. It was fun stuff like that. There were major crimes, of course, but not on anywhere near what Spokane and even Coeur d'Alene are dealing with now. Whether people were fearful of what law enforcement might do physically or jailing them or whatever, I do not know. Of course, I have my suspicions about politics when it comes to all of this, but I don't. It was just so much fun.
Yeah, well, and that was back in the area. I mean, I worked with where I met some retired CHP officers from where I'm from that were the Vietnam era guys.
Are you from California?
I'm not from there, so hold on. I'm not from there. I'm not from there, I swear. I just lived there for a while.
I have family in California. I couldn't let that go.
I know. But so these Vietnam era guys, they were a different breed. You know what I mean? I talked to like CHP. They used to carry leather saps, and I'm like, that was like part of the uniform. They would rock that and just beat people over the head with it. And I'm like, it was a different era where I think there was a lot more respect for law enforcement.
I agree,
because you would literally get your ass kicked by them if you didn't.
You're right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, but society in general. I mean, in that era, you were taught to respect law enforcement.
Yeah.
You were taught to respect authority. Right. And there wasn't a whole bunch of social media pushing a narrative from another place that didn't necessarily mirror, the community that you live in now. They're pushing big time national movements or narratives that don't necessarily reflect like a small town, say like Coeur d'Alene. So I think kids used to be taught to respect law enforcement. It was just different. People generally would not challenge the way that they do now. Or there was no cell phone trying to record something to get
that. It's annoying.
Yes, because that's what it is now. Trying to either get clicks, get famous, or sue successfully. It's just a different era.
Well, you did your job, or you didn't, because we all know that not everyone's cut out for this.
Yeah.
Correct? But that doesn't stop people from joining law enforcement. So in that respect, I suppose the transparency is a good thing, because it'll show flaws, and there are flaws, and that's okay. But did it change the behavior of law enforcement? Of course it did. Has it all been beneficial? We could probably argue that all day about the pros and cons of what social media has done. But it is, the lack of accountability that drives me nuts.
On that note, like when you look at Spokane, how long did you work in Spokane, first of all?
25 years.
25 years, okay. When you look at it now, what does it make you feel?
Gosh, I do not like bad mouthing.
You can swear on here. Oh, okay.
I don't, because
we do all the time.
I used to.
You blood, sweat, and tears in that. Wow.
Well, that's true.
Yeah.
Sorry about that,
Yeah,
Seth.
yeah, no, that's me.
I used to come in when we come in from Seattle, and you'd come over that rise up by the west side. And was so proud to be a part of it. That's my city. I'm helping to protect that city. And now you have to force me to go over there and spend any money in Washington because of what they do with it. And I'm at odds with that. And when there are major incidences, especially in the last 10 to 15 years that I was on board, or even my husband, he's retired police over there, public just turned on you so fast. Without knowing who you were, how you felt, what you hold for values, it was just turning on a dime negatively for the most part, and watching your politicians maybe that you had voted for, or watching your supervisors, your chief, whatever it might be, just turning. And what an eye-opener. It was like, wait a minute. I'm no different than I was 15 years ago. I'm no different than I was a year ago. Truth is still important to me. Integrity is still important to me. Accountability, taking responsibility for my own actions, is still important to me. But now somehow it's all been twisted around into you're covering up for someone, you're covering for yourself, you're lying, you're embellishing, you're not putting the facts out there. And I'm a pretty fact-oriented person. Well, law enforcement did that to me, but that's okay, it's a plus. And it's like, holy shit, what just happened here? And whether it's social media or whether it's evolution, I don't know. I don't know.
I think it's a mix. I think social media, everybody now desires instant gratification. And if you're first, you're right. Very rarely are we able to correct it. But I also think our Department of Justice changed that a lot. They changed the perception of local law enforcement quite a bit. I think FBI losing their overall integrity changed a lot. I mean, as the premier law enforcement entity in the country, they changed a lot in the last 20 years where they just started targeting cops and going after cops.
It's unfortunate because I think Spokane has fallen victim to what's happened in a lot of cities and states across the country where cops have hit the point where they're like, you know what, I'm safer not doing anything and just, just responding to calls that I have to, because if I'm proactive, I'm opening myself up to liability, civil liability, getting all of the things, and management will come down on me. I mean, I've heard it from guys over in Spokane. There's some great officers over there, but they're fighting that same fight that a lot of cities, California fell to this a long time ago, where they don't really want you to do the job.
Well, and I think the way your guys' testing process was, because I heard stories about several of them. I may have gotten a ticket from one of them once upon a time for an MIP. I think in the park. Anyways.
Was that right before you went in the Navy?
Yes, it was. And I had to go to court because I was still, she had to come rep me. Be like, please get him out of the house. Please send him to boot camp. Please let him go. Let him ship.
Don't blow his enlistment here.
And my recruiter's like, don't you tell them a word. When they go to boot camp, don't you say a word about this. I was like, copy that. Super scared. Really, really nervous. But some of those guys would go sit in darked out parking lots and not go to calls, right?
Absolutely. And they were doing that long before.
Yeah.
I mean, there were those.
Yeah.
And that's what I was alluding to earlier. There were those who just responded to the calls and would usually be the second car.
Right.
Or backup. They were great backup officers for traffic stops or whatever. And that's been there. It's probably since this whole, law enforcement became a thing. But then you had even mediocre officers who might go out there and initiate some activity, but why?
Yeah.
Why would you do that and take the risk of something going sideways, and that's the rest of your life right there in that little package? And you have to get over that hump in order to still be a good cop, at least in my opinion.
Yeah.
You have to be willing to say, I know who I am, I know if this happens, that if I made a mistake, I should be held accountable. Absolutely. But to make a mistake by doing nothing, I have to be able to live with that. So I can't. I won't. So for me, it was you do your job, you take your hits, even though they may not always have been warranted. You take your hits and you live with that. But looking in the mirror at the end of the day and seeing that one that just shied away from doing what needed to be done, that could not be me. And it wasn't the majority of cops I knew.
Yeah.
But are there more of those now? I have no doubt.
I think the system.
It's your whole life on the line right now.
I think the system is creating that, unfortunately, in some not all departments. I don't think Coeur d'Alene's that way, right?
I said, still teach the academy. And I love telling them. I said, you know what my goal was when I became a cop? Because I was coming from a totally different career field. I started when I was 31, 32. By the way, I don't think there was anybody more shocked when I said I was getting into law enforcement than my mother.
Who said, how are you going to pass the background?
I don't know.
I'm sure you'll pass the polygraph because you're going to have to pass the polygraph. But how you're going to pass the background, I don't know.
I just told them everything. All right. When we go through the application process and there's one question that says, list everything illegal you've ever done law enforcement's not aware of and you know a polygraph's crime. And they gave me like 10 lines. Yeah. And I was like, hey, can I do an addendum? It was like writing an autobiography. That's an interesting exercise in self-reflection, by the way. Going back and saying it all started when I was 16 and I procured a fake ID that looked blah, 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 and routinely bought alcohol for myself and fellow minors. Whatever.
Which I stupidly never destroyed.
Yeah,
I hid it and he found it.
Yeah, she was doing my laundry and found it in my pocket and she didn't get rid of it. That was pretty funny.
But look at you. You were a damn good cop. I mean, he is well respected in this whole area.
Yeah.
And I think I attribute it to your background. I mean, I was a similar way. Like, you learn a lot.
Yep.
Making mistakes.
But I tell those guys in the academy, I said, you have to decide right out of the gate what kind of cop you want to be, right? Like, what is it? What are your immediate goals? A lot of them will tell you, I want to be a detective. I want to be a domestic violence detective. I want to be a major crimes detective. I want to be a DUI car. Like, those are the type of goals they set up. So I think you guys are thinking about this all wrong. How about you be a radio number to where you sign up for a call? The other cops that are on scene are like, cool. Right? You want to be respected amongst your peers.
Yeah.
That should be your first goal, that when you sign up, you are value added to wherever you go, whatever call you go to. Do that first. And that's what's funny, because who decides what a good cop is? It's not admin. Like, there's a different feel when you're on patrol. Everybody knows who the good ones are.
Absolutely.
And that should be your immediate goal.
Yeah.
And it's not the ones hiding, studying for the next promotional exam.
Admin may try. They try, as a trooper, my job was to arrest DUIs, write tickets, and take crashes. Well, I don't like doing two of those things. I like hooking deuces, but I don't like the other two. So, we would go out and we'd patrol the city, and which was fine, right? All roads, all codes. That was okay. But, and we'd hook felonies in there, and then I'd come back after a graveyard shift. I'm stoked. I got a felony, maybe a deuce or two. And I'm like, all right, cool. And the sergeant's like, how many tickets did you get? I was like, well, I didn't get any, but I got a gun off the street. Yeah. Like, okay, you need to get more tickets next time. I'm like, fuck off, man. Like, that's the crap you deal with from admin, depending on what department you're in. There's always something.
Takes all kinds of kinds. Yeah. I've told you I was never a big DUI cop. Wasn't that kind of what you liked when you were first patrolling?
Oh, hell no.
You didn't like to?
It really was the alley creeping. It was stopping people that of course I had to have reasonable suspicion, blah, 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 blah. But anyway, it was stopping people that I thought needed to be stopped.
Interdicting criminal activity.
Is it not reasonably suspicious? It's 3 a.m. and you're in an alley. I mean, I feel like right there. Like, what are you doing?
Well, and it wasn't always just alleys, but, whatever. I didn't mind DUIs, and we always took them over for sergeants when they stopped people because they were too important to follow up on their own stuff. But, I didn't mind doing that, but again, tickets were just a way to contact people.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I should have really just said stops.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you talked yourself into a ticket. You did. Yeah. I mean, don't cry. Don't cry at me, because that isn't going to work. Well, I can
confirm. Can confirm.
Yeah. And don't tell me I should be out arresting, rapists and murderers and things like that, because it's okay. How many drunk driving fatalities are in the state of Washington in any given year? How many blown stop signs end up creating fatalities or whatever. So I am stopping a potential murder anyway. Arguing with people stupid, but I couldnn't stop.
So you never
myself.
got to deal. You never got to deal with sovereign citizens. That was like so much joy.
I've never wanted to punch someone in the throat more than a sovereign citizen.
I love it, because to me it's like fast, articulate.
Let's play a game. I would love to have you as a sergent for one of them.
Hold on, you need a sergeant on scene. I got you. Yes. Oh, it was so much fun. I enjoyed that, man. I'm just traveling.
Okay, here we go.
Cowabunga it is, dude. Okay. It's going to be one of those days. All right. I enjoy that.
This is going to end with your car on a flatbed and you in the back of my car. Let's go.
And that wasn't what I was looking for. Yeah. But, you talked yourself into it.
Right.
And by the way, you do pay my salary, and I'm long overdue for a raise. Yeah. So let's get on that.
Yes.
See, I always like that line, but our CHP is funded through vehicle registration in California. So that was the best when they'd be like that. And I'd be like, oh, it's cool. You haven't paid your registration in a year and a half. So
yeah,
actually, you're not actually paying my salary.
No,
you really
you're
didn't.
In arrears. You're in arrears.
But you're about to.
you about him.
Yep.
And by the way, some of my best friends as an Explorer advisor, one of my best friends was a trooper. So you guys are okay with me.
Okay, well, thank you.
You are okay with me as a city cop.
Wait, which one was it? You Mason?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Trooper Mason.
That dude, he was in class by himself.
God,
I was always tight with the city and the county, like more than
that was
troopers.
smart.
Because trooping's a lonely business, to be honest. So, and I was always jealous because they always had teams, and I'm like, well, I want to be on the team.
Dude, that would suck. I didn't think about that, man. It was, God, we had fun at City because our teams would be like 5 or 6.
Yeah.
And we're sitting there on Graves, and I'm, running when I was started, but even when I was just on Graves, but you've got your group, you've got your crew, and you're like, you're constantly on a phone thread, or you're like, hey, come check out this house, dude. I got a car over here at Conoco, dude. Like, come check this out. This is going to be fun. And you kind of roll as a unit. So
we kind of got to that point with county boys and the city boys. Yeah. And if you were working graveyards with us, we had to pair up at midnight. So we'd have, so if you had a good partner, it was cool. If you had a shitty one, not so cool. But so we'd have to be paired up from like midnight to 5 a.m. or something. And those were fun, dude.
I actually liked that plan. And we had partners every Friday night.
That makes sense.
That was awesome. Dave Richards. We had some fun.
It's so much better, like having that extra set of eyeballs that aren't focused on driving. Yeah. It's like, man, you can pick everything up when you're doing
and you're so much. I've always said, if I was king, I would make them all, even in Coeur d'Alene, I would make them 2-man cars.
Always, I would too.
I would make them because I think it's safer. You can handle more calls for service. A good functioning 2-person vehicle is more effective than 2 single vehicles. Mm-hmm. When Fancy and I were out running that, by the time we'd get to the jail, that report is almost written. Mm-hmm. He goes in and books them. By the time he comes back out, I've got half of that, maybe 3/4 of it written. And it's fresh straight from the scene. Like it was, but you can just sit there on your MPC.
Too soft. We were always too soft. Like I worked with Sam a lot, and the moment any one of us started driving, you try to get on that computer, like instant nausea, bro. You didn't.
You got used to the county, but because we were always poaching like Post Falls and State Line. We were always over there. So we had
look at a screen.
You had to go 25 minutes.
Well, interestingly enough, when we were partners, we didn't have computers back in the day.
That's valid.
So, I'm just sitting here saying I would have been throwing up.
Did the passenger have to wind the light and the siren?
You can sit there and make fun of me, but you're not that far off. But there were 2 brains working on an activity.
Yeah.
Or, the investigation, or, hey, did you see that? And how can that not be more beneficial from start to finish?
Safe.
Yeah. Well, you have a cover officer with you immediately, so you're more likely to engage the moment you see something.
Yes.
Whereas you're not like, I'm gonna pause for a moment here and wait.
Well, and a lot of times that show of force with 2 there is de-escalation. Everybody thinks de-escalation is verbal. A lot of times your de-escalation, is presence and a different tactic or equipment.
Yeah.
We would get more on scene. I mean, that's what SWAT really is. SWAT de-escalates a ton because when that thing shows up in your front yard, you're like, well, that's an overwhelming force. Like I'm not
that
gonna
and the canine, it's like, okay,
yes,
I give up.
Oh yeah.
So if it's all right, I was just going to circle back to the female thing for just a minute.
Do
it. It was so apparent that we were a very light group. I mean, there just weren't very many of us. So you found your mentor, blah, 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 worked with the guys. And I've always liked guys better than women. Always.
No, you're married to one. That makes sense.
Yeah. I just always have. And easier for me to get along with. I grew up in a family with 10 siblings, so you had to figure out, how to get along. But then there was more of a push, and I started teaching at the academy pretty early on. So I got to watch the push. More females. More different, more diversity, which, okay, I don't care. As long as you do your job, I don't care if you're purple.
No.
I don't care if you're an alien. Just do your job. But I watched it, and here's where, and I can just pinpoint where some of the crap started. And we always used to volunteer the 2 hours in the morning for PT. Mm-hmm. You didn't get overtime for that. You just showed up at 6 in the morning. You did PT till 8. If you had to do anything in the evening, there was no overtime. Not for anybody. It's just the way it was. I'm not saying that was a good thing, because what if you got hurt, right? Then there could be an issue. But it got pushed, and of course, and I guess what I'm trying to say is, when there was the big influx, there were a lot of changes that came with it quickly. Perhaps not thought through entirely, because if you want change to be effective, you have to have people buy into it. When it is thrown in your face, shoved down your throat, and it's being done because of the noise groups are making, then the effectiveness takes so much longer, and it's not as complete. And I hope I'm making sense. But when I saw the influx of women coming in with the complaints that came with it, it's like, would you guys just, I know what this is going to sound like, and I apologize ahead of time. Would you guys run some of this by some of us first?
Right.
Would you run it by some of us who have been here for a hot minute, before you start filing your complaints, before you start not just rocking the boat, but tipping the boat over? Because we can achieve this. We just need to achieve it without it being just because we're girls.
It's a slippery slope, and you got to be really careful. I get it. I worked with some of the best officers I've worked with were females, but then I've also worked with some downright home wreckers that will create an absolutely toxic environment in any office. And it's like, be a little more selective. Don't just pick people because of their sexual orientation, their sex, their race, whatever. Pick them because they're good.
And whatever changes need to be affected, let's stop and think about this for a minute. And there's always a ripple effect, and that's okay. But don't be trying to represent me, because you're not. Let me.
Like with policy changes and things like that to accommodate.
Yeah, and just complaints. It just seemed like they were just flooding in.
Well, and there was a change in standards too, because I remember when you were going through the academy, there were only two of you, and I hadn't thought about it from that perspective. Some of you that went through early on had to get more and more pissed off that they were changing and kind of bending their knee, because when you went through, it was the same standard.
The physical standards were the same, and there were actually 6 women that started in my academy.
And how many finished?
How many became regular officers?
Yeah.
1.
Right. So out of 6, but the physical standards were exactly the same. Because I remember you talking about the dummy drag, because you weighed like 120 pounds, and you're 5'2".
Oh, that was for the reserves. Maybe 5'3". That was hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
God, it's like, holy crap, how am I supposed to do this? And the other female that was going out struggled with it, but that's okay. Like I said, I grew up with 5 brothers, so
Yeah.
What was your favorite position in law enforcement? Because you got into detective work, right?
Yes, and that was primarily done for family reasons, because
schedules and
I never wanted to work swing shift, and graveyard was just a little much after a while when kids were in sports and stuff. Man, my favorite position, it had to be patrol. Had to be patrol because of the unpredictability, because things were changing, because I was there when bangers started coming up from California. So again, looking back, you can see it so clearly how everything rolled. But initially when it happened, we were very proactive with them, and that was fun. Scary, but fun. So I'd have to say patrol. I enjoyed my time in SIU, and yes, I did the prostitute thing one time. And
can you clarify that, please?
Well, he laughs about, he brings it up, and I say, but I hated every minute of it. And because I thought, number one, I look way too healthy for the girls who were working the streets at that time.
Well, that would make you very good at it, because all the guys would be like, oh,
wait a minute, she's new.
She's not even hooked on drugs yet. Let's go.
Yeah, but when we used, can I mention names? When we used a couple of the other people who were explorers, names I'm not going to say because one's a captain now at Spokane PD, but they were good looking anyway. So when they got out there, I thought, how can these guys not realize what's going on?
Yeah, right.
These are so high above the caliber of normal. But
it's like asking a dealer to come deal in Idaho. You're like, oh, that's a cop. That's 100%. That's a cop.
But these I really liked talking with the street girls. I did. I enjoyed them. They knew what they were doing. I knew what they were doing.
I mean, it gives you such a different perspective on life, right?
Yes,
to see
and choices, and talking about their kids.
Oh, wow.
And stuff like that. But the one time I did do it, I just wanted to say, how can you guys be so stupid? How can you be so stupid? Because I wouldn't get in the car, of course. You'd make the deal, go around the corner. I'd say bingo or something else clever like that, whatever it was.
Yahtzee.
And I just went back to my sergeant, said, I just can't do this again. Because I didn't buy dope that well. No, I bought dope pretty well. But I thought, why are you selling to me? Do I look like I'm using dope? I mean, people, I shouldn't trade secrets.
Yeah.
But things, I enjoyed it, but not that much. Homicide, maybe, or major crimes.
Yeah. How long did you do that for a bit too?
About 12, 13 years.
Oh, that's a long time. Okay.
Yeah.
So you said, the girls that you talked to on the street, did you kind of meet with them when you were working vice stuff, or were these just street contacts on patrol?
Just street contacts. Somebody would call back. That was back in the day when businesses would call and say, we have a couple girls working out in front of our place. Something like that. Or
were they a lot more likely to talk to you just being a woman?
They were likely to talk to anyone who treated them with a modicum of respect.
This is where your son gets it from.
Yeah, didn't sneer at them. Because I worked alongside that, and I realized that was a cultural thing for cops at the time. I'm aware, and we have made some progress, a lot of progress actually, regarding how to treat people. But if you called them by name, humanized the whole contact, talked about their kids, which I have to admit at the time, just what? You have kids? You didn't think about them that way. And where they lived and who their daddy was, but those kinds of things. And the guys that did that, man, they ended up being good contacts. The street girls were incredibly helpful with the Robert Yates situation. He was the serial killer back in the day of street girls. And in fact, it was a street girl that he shot.
And you knew
the bullet, I don't remember her. He killed Nikki, who was one of my favorites, but the bullet exited her head and didn't kill her, and they later found that bullet in his car. Imagine that with her DNA on it.
What?
How cool is that?
Okay, what year was this? I need more details on this one.
Oh, it's just Robert Yates.
Okay, Robert Yates.
You have to look that up. Yeah, and I think he buried one in his backyard too.
So he was a serial killer preying on street women.
Yes.
How many did he kill over in total? Do you know?
I couldn't tell you. I want to say maybe 5 or 6.
That we know of, right?
That we know of.
Yeah.
But I hadn't thought about looking that one up. But I wasn't a part of that. They ended up with the task force. I was not a part of that because I wasn't in major crimes at the time. So, but that was an interesting case.
And he killed one of your contacts.
Yes, Nikki. I liked her. She had a mouth on her, that girl. But did I like her? That mean maybe I like people with mouths on them.
What? I don't know why you're looking at me. I'm like fly on wall, dude. Like, no, I'm very, very mellow.
But you just have to, just treat people with some respect. And maybe they'll reluctantly help you, but they're more likely to help you then.
It goes so far, and it makes you realize. Like, I learned so much as a cop, and I appreciate the people I met and had contact. They're not people you would hang out with, but to get that perspective on life is invaluable, I think, and it makes you realize. Most people are just normal people. They're making mistakes. They're not bad people necessarily.
And addicts, that's a whole different world. That is just something that, honestly, other than my sugar addiction, that is just something that I don't have a feel for. But I still recognize that people end up in bad situations because of it. And I'm not going to sit there and pass judgment on somebody out making $20 taking a ride with a John for 20 minutes. And then, maybe going and buying the crack wasn't the best plan for the money, but, what are you going to do? Yeah. They're still human beings. And I still wonder how some of them do even to today.
Right, what are they up to now?
Yeah, what are you doing? Were you able to keep them? Did you get them back?
Yeah.
But no way of knowing that.
The way the drug scene's changed in the last, where I'm going to go with it, but 20, 25 years, there's a lot fewer that survive it.
That's true.
It's so deadly. I know how that sounds, but it's so deadly.
Yeah, truly.
Right now. The crack, that wasn't killing people.
Right.
Like
fentanyl
the fentanyl.
Yeah.
And now when they started cutting it with different products, that was different. But crack was the big thing when I was buying dope. Mm-hmm. And that was down by the bus depot, the old Greyhound. That's where we always went.
Yeah.
And South Central, Spokane. There was a lot of activity there. I mean, again, that was kind of fun.
Yeah. When did you go to investigations? Investigations was after the shooting, right?
Yes.
So it's like 92, 93?
Yes. In fact, I'd taken the detective's test right before that.
And you were an FTO then when that happened? Mm-hmm. You had like a phase
Poor
one?
Jay.
Who?
My poor probationer.
I doubt that.
Oh, yeah, I didn't. Police work didn't end up working out for him, but it wasn't because of that.
Gotcha.
Eric mentioned the shooting. Can we talk about that?
Sure. That's a long time ago.
Yeah. Still, I imagine it sticks with you.
I don't think of it anywhere near as often as other people do, because really, in some respects, it was pretty insignificant in terms of trauma, right? I mean,
physical trauma or mental trauma?
Well, not
because you got shot.
Yeah, it didn't feel good. I was so surprised. It was like, hey, ow. And when they say it's like a poker, that's really the truth. I've always been pretty tough, and that could be my upbringing. Mm-hmm. But it just never bounced me. I don't know why. Could have, I suppose. But that's where I was getting to with women. If you're looking, or anybody, if you're not tough, this isn't probably what you should be doing with your life.
True.
Number one, it will change you. I don't care what anyone says. It will change you. It will change your perspective on patriotism. It will change your perspective on loyalty to the good, I think. Mm-hmm. But it will change you. And you have to be able to manage that. So does your family. And I was never very good at expressing that I knew what changes were going on, but I didn't necessarily share that. But I don't know. The shooting was, a lot of it was a mistake on my part. So my focus immediately went to, in fact, it wasn't even over. As soon as it happened, and I shot the shit out of the cupboard of the neighbor's door because my aim was a little off at that point.
Because you'd just been shot.
Yeah. I was so mad. I was so angry that this had happened to me because I was an FTO. I was an EVOC instructor. I was teaching at the academy. I was, whether I wanted it or not, I knew that all the women behind me, that I was a bit of a mentor to at least a couple of them. And look what I let happen. So most of it went that direction. I don't think it ever occurred to me it could have been fatal, because that's just not a road I traveled.
Why did you take it on yourself that you felt like you made a mistake?
Because I messed up.
How?
I broke cover. I messed up. And I knew better. Of course I knew better. But, you should always rely on training. And I had very good training. I truly did. Tom Solberg, I still thank him to this day for how tough he was on me in some respects, because I learned a lot. He was patrol procedures instructor. But it was my mistake. I was just very relieved that my probationer stayed behind me, like he should have, and that he wasn't exposed to anything. But for me, that worked. For me, where did you screw up? How did you screw up? We have to make sure this gets out there and doesn't happen to someone else if you can have any impact on that. And that was a very, very solid path for me to go down. Because then it was, all right. I mean, and someone died, not because of what I did, but there were people who died that night. And not me, a couple of innocent citizens. And that wasn't why I was there, was to be a witness to something like that. You get into could I have prevented it? What could I have done? If you can't do that, it's going to kill your soul. It's going to kill your spirit. And you're just not going to be able to get back out there with the same zest. And I just couldn't let that happen. So sitting there in the hospital.
Where did you get shot?
Bored out of my mind. In the leg.
Okay.
In and out. But it shattered the bones. That was the problem, not the bullet. But yeah, just sitting there behind the house while all the shooting was still going on and all that, and just saying, you dumbass, you dumbass, you dumbass. And then you hear the radio chatter, because I told my partner, I said, tell him officer down. And it was like, hey, I don't want anybody else coming around this corner, right? No way. So he did, and as soon as that happens, then you hear the chatter, and it's like, this ain't over. Jesus. And I finally got on and said, I'm just shot in the leg. It's like, this isn't over. These bad guys, this bad guy hasn't been caught yet. And it isn't that makes me a great, wonderful person or always thinking of others. That wasn't it. I just said, shit, I got to start dealing with this right now if I'm going to deal with it at all.
You did your job.
Get this done.
You did your job, like exactly what you should do.
Well, I don't know.
Yeah, and even tactically, I get the assessment after the fact. But to paint a picture, this was the Chavers brothers, and it was a shooting spree. Like it was
definitely
like they were
started in Stevens County, or they robbed a bank in Lewiston.
Right, and they came over. They were shooting at cops going down Division in traffic.
Oh wow!
They'd already murdered a citizen because he was working on his truck or something.
They wanted it,
and he probably didn't even look up. But they said, "Give me the keys to your truck," and he said, "F you," and they executed him and stole his truck. And it's
They shot a cop there, a reserve cop.
Right, they'd shot him. So this was a spree, and she was parked at an intersection, and he blew a stop sign right in front of him. He'd come off Division, so she was in, and by this time the two brothers had split up.
They crashed.
You correct me if I'm wrong at any point.
Oh,
but
I will.
I know. I've been dealing with that for the better part of 4 decades. But he'd pulled up and sprinted into a house.
No. They split up and tried to get into houses, and then he was in a backyard.
Oh, okay.
And the homeowner came out, the husband. Yeah, and he was up on a roof in his garage, and he yelled, "Get off there," and everything that goes along with it. Yeah. And he started firing. Right. And so the police, including me, knew what house he was behind at that point. So there was a convergence, and I went around the back, and bam, bam.
Yeah, didn't you have an interaction with the wife of that house?
I did not. No.
Oh, I thought
she died on the scene.
Right. Well, that's terrible part of this that nobody really, like, you think about the firefight and those are the parties that are involved, but when law enforcement came around after she was shot, and they shot Ad Ham, a round went through the house and struck her in the house.
Always.
Oh, and
it's like always the case.
Yeah,
sucks,
exactly.
Man.
Terrible set of circumstances, no matter which way you cut it.
Yeah.
There I am at I think I was 7 or 8 at the time. And even at that age, dude comes to the door, he's in uniform, knocks on the door.
My sergeant.
Yeah. He's like, your mom got hurt. And I remember it because my dad was talking to him, but he's like, yeah, she hurt her ankle. She sprained her ankle. And even at that age, I was like, why would you come here? And it doesn't make any sense.
More to this.
But it was, we went to the hospital. She was okay. And then we go back and there's just media all over the house, which I'm pretty sure my dad was built for moments like that, saying, F you, get off my lawn. Like he enjoys that more than anything in the world. So I think he took some enjoyment out of that. But I remember they told you that you would have some pretty significant physical limitations after that.
Well, yeah, I mean, a couple bones were shattered, but I didn't. I have just been so lucky with so many things. The big thing is I was supposed to go to my sister's wedding in a week in Minneapolis. And I was in the hospital a week because, they're checking infection. I mean, Kevin Nave was there. He was another cop who was shot in the shoulder. He had to carry his bullet around his whole life because he couldn't go in and get it. But anyway, there were a couple of us in there. I said, I need to get out of here. I have an airline ticket. I'm going. And so I had my 1-hour psych consultation at the hospital.
With Lou.
Yeah. And I said, look, I think I have a pretty good handle on this. The big thing for me is the guilt about screwing up and setting a bad example for tactics and that sort of thing. I said, but I know responding was the right thing to do. Anyway, check. So I had that box checked to get out, and the doctors let me out, and I got to fly back to Minneapolis.
Culturally, getting back to work after you get back, did you take any time off? There was the physical recovery, right?
Yeah, I didn't have a choice about that.
How were you received by the other officers? Were they high-fiving you? Were they talking smack?
There were people who came. It was pretty busy at the hospital, including the chief at the time, Terry Mangan, for whom I have so much respect for so many reasons.
I like Terry, yeah.
Rest in peace type thing. But there were a couple, one that went through the academy with me that is not a person I would ever spend time with, given a choice, that spread the rumor that I had shot myself. I had to have shot myself. I mean, and whether it was female, I know what he thought of females, but again, I choose not to go down the female path in that career, or whether it was just me, although I came in second in the academy and he was further down the line than I am. But, who remembers that stuff?
Not that it's a competition. I remember you being pissed that you were second.
I was mad because it wasn't by very much, and whatever. I mean, I lost legitimately, and I didn't get the gun that the first person got. But anyway.
Yeah, and she'll blow it off. But there was a time where they said you wouldn't be able to return to full function or full duty. And how long did it take you to run Bloomsday? A year?
Oh, I got to go the next year. But, they had to go in
you can't run, so she goes and runs.
I ran in a brace.
Sounds like somebody I know.
Yeah, stubborn.
Weird.
Well, yeah, but there was no reason not to. That's what I'm trying to say. You don't come up with reasons not to perform at whatever your chosen career is. Come up with reasons to. If you make a mistake, you learn and you move on. And it was a cathartic event for me to be able to use this with explorers. Mm-hmm. So really the best position I had there was being an explorer advisor. I was one for years and years, and along with the two people I was doing it with, we were pretty dynamic as a trio. We created a lot of cops out of these young kids. And I still say, you change the life of one person, two people, your life's worth living. And whether it was that or, a DUI guy who, you have to see him again when you go to the licensing hearing, right, to see if their license is suspended or not. And first thing he said to me was, "Thank you. I haven't had a drop to drink since. And you treated me," I don't know how he ever would have remembered how I treated him, to be honest with you. But that's not something you hear from people. And it wasn't thanking me for being Terry. It was thanking me for helping him get away from the alcohol. So those moments are the ones that stick with you. But explorer advising was so good for me, and you just hope that it really had the impact you like to tell yourself it did.
You're annoyingly humble about stuff, but she taught at the academy a lot, and it is still shocking how many people come up and be like, "Your mom taught at the academy when I was a reserve or I was an explorer. She was awesome. She was the best teacher." Jeff Walther was one of those.
No kidding.
Oh yeah, he was a reserve in Spokane County or Spokane City. I think
he was the county.
Yeah, he might have been. Either way, he's like, "Your mom was awesome. Like one of the best instructors of the academy." So she won't say it, but I will.
Yeah,
I will say that.
But it was
you
fun.
Take compliments like crap, Mom.
Well, it was easy. The more you can talk about either an incident or something important to you, like the judicial review, the more you talk about it, the more you learn, because people should be giving you feedback. So that was helpful for me to be able to take that incident and turn it into something helpful. And I was an advisor at the time. And so you have these great big eyes out there, and they don't want to know what happened. They want to know, how'd it feel?
Yeah, of course.
What'd you do?
Yeah.
I cussed a lot. Because I was so angry with myself. But they were used to me cussing. And I was back to work. I was on crutches because they had to do bone stuff and all of that. But I was back to work in a couple months. Wow. Working, doing just paperwork stuff, and then I went on to the academy for a year.
Do you have any favorite cases that stick out from major crimes?
I do.
I would love to hear one.
And look it up sometime. But and I know this one's going to seem ridiculous, but this is one of my ones where I feel like I went with my gut. And it was a transient situation under the Monroe Street Bridge And there are places they can camp under the Monroe Street Bridge. And it's, maybe 30, 40 feet up. And, some worker on the bridge saw a body. So we always investigated that. We went there, and it looked like, he could have rolled off, something like that. And the more I looked at it, I said, you roll off this, you're going to go straight down. You're pushed off this, you're going to be right about where he landed. So it was a long process to get to who was he with, and you didn't have all the cameras, the CCTV stuff available, but they'd been at the mission. I always had a great relationship with the mission. I really appreciated what they did, and I liked the director over there, so they were helpful. And we figured it out, and we found the bad guy on the East Coast, and detectives interviewed him there and sent him back, and it didn't all end up the way I wanted it to in terms of accountability. He ended up getting 5 years, but he admitted to pushing him, and that was gratifying.
Yeah.
Because it was gut. It was gut.
Good old-fashioned police work, no camera stuff.
No, but the Mukagawa incident was huge, and that was in 2000. Yes, that was 2000, and 3 girls were kidnapped from the bus stop in front of Mukagawa, which is the old Fort Wright compound. No, bad word. The old Fort Wright campus.
Okay.
And they were kidnapped, and they were taken to a house out in the valley, and they were repeatedly sexually assaulted. They let one of them go. So we ended up working with her. Of course, there was a language barrier.
Well, because Mukagawa is a
Japanese.
Yeah, it's like a what would you call that? Where they do they come over for 4 or 5 months. Was it like
exchange,
an
exchange
something
student
like
thing?
that? I'm not sure what
I
that is.
don't even know if it was an exchange, but it was like a school / junior college / setup, and it was primarily language based.
Okay.
Those poor girls,
Yeah.
they come all the way over here and then getting that. Oh,
Yeah, and they were 19, I think, 19 and 20. But that one, I wasn't the lead on that one, but I was the liaison with the one victim. And then when they finally let the other 2 on, they suffered horrific assaults. And when they let them go, because they did, then we had the 3 girls and an interpreter. I never thought I'd forget her name. I think it was Kiko something. Holy cow. Those 4 women were amazing. I look at some of the spoiled, rotten people we have raised and around the world. I don't just mean here, but
Easy, I'm right here.
well, I don't think you were spoiled rotten.
No.
Indulged a little, maybe. But I mean, my point being, they were so strong, and they couldn't even speak English, and they had to all go through this interpreter who had to hear everything that happened. We spent hours and hours and hours together getting as much detail as we could using the interpreter. And eventually there was a tip about the car, and it finally all came together in a pretty short period of time. But we took these girls who were blindfolded, taken from Mukagawa out to the valley, blindfolded, but they could see just enough under the blindfold that they could see the 2 chimneys. Oh my God, what are they? In downtown Spokane? Mm-hmm. The 2, I can't think of the name of it right now.
The sawmill.
No, it's right off the freeway. Yeah. But they saw that, so we knew they were going east. And then they would communicate sounds that they could hear. We ended up getting within a 12-block area of where this all happened, based entirely on what these girls reported that they could see, hear, and feel, down to the curtains in the basement where they were held.
It wasn't part of that they could hear the cameras like they were recording it.
Yes, they knew they were being recorded, and they were.
Wild.
And that was very gratifying, because of course there were confessions, and they'd attempted a kidnapping a couple weeks earlier. But they did it because they knew that the Japanese culture would look negatively upon the victims, and that the victims would likely never report it because of the humiliation to their families. Wow. And one of them, who was one of the two that was actually assaulted in that way, persuaded the others to cooperate. It wasn't easy at first, but she did. To this day, I'm saying, all I can hope for is that they got back to Japan and, have their own families and all of that. But I was thinking of this the other night. It was grueling, but I don't know that I've ever been so satisfied.
Yeah, like justice.
And it was a bunch of people. They were running, I won't say the name of the company, but it's like the Adam and Eve of Spokane Valley.
Oh.
The people that were involved in this.
Holy. Mm-hmm. So like
so
sex
it was
shop.
A lot of, and I forgot this. The one that they let go helped us with artist sketches of the female, because she only saw the female. And it was such a good likeness. And we went out to the valley when we got names, when we finally figured that out. So I got to walk around in that place and got my eyes opened real wide in this place about stuff that's available out there. But anyway, and it was such a good likeness. I said, there's no doubt in my mind.
Yeah.
There's not a doubt in my mind. And then we, warrants and everything went from there. But that was extremely gratifying. And those girls loved the Grinch, because this was right around Christmas. So I got them Grinch books in Japanese, and and they made me scarves. And it was just that kind of a cultural exchange, which is the point of this. They were already rising above it, which was incredible to me. Probably denial, I don't care what they used. But they were rising above it to also feel gratitude and maybe a sense of ownership.
Right.
Because they did it. We would have been lost without them.
Right.
We would never have solved it without them.
It's crazy. And because you mentioned that, and you think about the cultural differences, they were already moving to a stage of like moving past it.
Yes.
Right? Where here, I'm not sure if we would like lean into the perpetual victimhood
more likely
part of our culture,
sure.
where you now have an excuse to do nothing with the rest of your life, which drives me crazy.
Yeah,
right. It's not to say people don't suffer. I mean, you mentioned PTSD at the beginning of this. We often talk about PTSD, where it's I think cops probably endure a lot more. I mean, having to hear those stories through that interpreter and that whole time. I mean, you definitely get some of that.
Watching her suffer. Oh, that was tough.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I can imagine. Because then she has to communicate it, relay it to you. That's
including
brutal.
My very intrusive questions.
Yeah, well, yeah, you have to. And in order to get charges, you have to ask. I always hated that part of an interview, because I had the one out here where it was grandfather, and it was I've told you about that, where we went out and it was a suicidal call, and end up getting on a PC hold, and then I'm sitting with him at the jail for 4 hours, and minimizing and understanding and saying, oh, you were helping. And it was a blood on blood molestation that had been going on for 2 years. And it was like everything you'd imagine. She was like 6 or 7. Oh, and it was like, God. But having to ask such deliberate, direct questions about what happened, it sucks.
Do you think you could have just like killed him right there, just strangled him? Like, I don't know what happened.
Yeah, but instead it was like,
that's cameras.
But that's a weird thing about cop work, right? Like, I felt worse about that one than I did some of the other ones, because what am I doing? I was 100% recruiter mode, like building rapport with this.
You did the right thing, and that's
because
so hard.
In my brain, I was like, I never want this girl to have to be a witness. Right, and in Idaho, it's so screwed up, because they have that statute where you get to face your accused. So now they're talking about how a 8-year-old would have to sit in front of her. Like in court. It's so screwed up. But my whole goal is like, I'm going to get everything out of this guy so she never has to see court.
Yeah.
That's my goal. If I do my job and I eat this right now, eat this big shit sandwich right now, she never has to see court.
See, when people talk about, being a cop and having to stare into the face of a monster, they don't picture that.
Oh,
but
yeah.
That's the hardest one. It's not like looking into the face of a killer who, whatever, or gangster or whatever. It's those, man.
Yeah, those ones.
You're buddying up to that because you got to get the information you need.
Dude, this was like an all-American Families vet. Like they had like a nice, really nice place. Good, like. Oh, but hearing the sound when the mother realized what was happening and hearing her scream from inside the house when we first got there, was like, oh, I've heard that before. I mean, it was...
Yeah, witnessing and feeling if you allow yourself, because let's be real, you have to keep control of your feelings, and that's why I said this job and the military, I'm guessing, will change you. It just will, because you cannot give in to that. You cannot.
Yeah.
Or you are not going to get to the facts.
Yeah.
That's what you need. Doesn't mean you can't be empathetic. I know you have had to. You're just describing it, even if it was fake.
Yeah.
You have to do it. And then you have to remind yourself that was fake. That was fake.
Right.
That this isn't normal. What this person did isn't normal. This is not real life.
Mm-hmm.
But it was real. It was real life. But this is not normal. And then you start wondering, is it?
Yeah.
Or isn't
Am
it?
I weird?
Yes, I know.
Wait, what?
I am going to give a shout out to the staff, because this happened at Kootenai Health, because he was on a hold. They were amazing. They knew, they had an idea what was going on, and they let me be and they knew. And I was in there forever. And I come out, and they're all sitting there like misty eyed. It's like, you okay? I was like, yeah, I'm good. I'm good. I got it. Yeah.
And are ya?
But they were amazing.
But it's special isn't the right word, but you have to be of a certain aptitude, I think, to do this. And again, having never gone into this with the idea of, I hate terms like trailblazing and
what it was, 100%, but she hates it.
I hate it.
Yeah.
Because that was not that I'll shy away from responsibility or even mentorship if I can offer something. But oh my God in heaven, blaze your own trail.
Right.
Maybe whacked out a couple tree limbs for you, but the rest of it is up to you. All I can do is tell you that you can survive it, but you are going to survive it with a sacrifice. You just have to decide whether or not you can make it, whether it's going to be heartless, which I've been accused of a few times.
Devoid of compassion. I would never say heartless.
Well, and a part of that's true, but that's also what makes me, get along well with your children, because they know they can't mess around too much with me.
That's true.
Those are two of the big cases, but I've also had some homicides that I'm pretty happy with the result.
Yeah, she's got a few episodes out there on shows, like some of the investigative shows.
Cool.
Where they've come out and interviewed her on
Just
some
one.
of the...
Just
Or was that the Australian one? Because it was like right when AOL first became a thing.
Yeah,
right?
the ones with the computers, which I knew, well, me saying anything about using computers in a sentence is ridiculous. But yeah, it was when IP addresses and things like that we were able to use, and finally being able to track cell phones. It's like, this is all a miracle.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah, and he was so dumb he used her phone. So things like that were eye-opening still for me. I never grumbled about tech moving on, but I didn't always like it. Because it was going to, just like AI, we can grumble all we want, but here it is.
It's coming.
So get used to it.
It's interesting, like, all the trauma, everybody has it, right? We talk about it, and it's like, there's a part of me that's thankful to have experienced that, even though when you're going through it at the time, it's terrible, and it's easier to look back on now that you have some years behind you. But like, you get the heaviest dose of the human condition that you could ever, and I feel like, being on this earth, I want to experience as much as possible, even the bad, and it gives you such a good perspective on life. So, like, there's a part of me that's kind of thankful to have been a witness to a lot.
Do you know that going in?
No way.
And how do you teach it?
That's why I said you have to be careful on your reflections, and that's a very positive way.
Yeah.
Very positive, and we lose cops and we lose military because of the inability to look at the positive on a reflection, whether it's a case or something. So, Seth, did you make a difference even one time in someone's life as a trooper?
For sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Eric?
As a trooper, no. I did.
This is why.
This is what you deal with. I know.
This is why.
Now I deal with it.
And he wonders where his daughter is.
Oh, yeah. Well, that one's just feral. No, but
I love that kid.
No,
she's cute.
I did, and it's not always the ones that I thought. I loved finding felons and bad guys, right? But we're actually going to have her on the podcast, which will be super cool. But I have a street source that has gotten clean and got herself right, and she still stays up.
Amazing.
Yeah, she texts and, she told me once, I don't think my kids would have my last name if it weren't for you. And some of those kind of stick with you. And now she's having a positive impact on other people that are going through that facet of life. And it's cool to see it kind of, go out, the ripples go out, and you can have a positive impact on people. But I think it's really important to experience the bad. I always say this. I'd never want to go through life at status quo, because you don't know the good if you haven't experienced the bad. Even if it means there's highs and lows. But that perspective, I'm always seeking perspective. You talk about like being immersed in the human condition. You're a great example of this. You're like a super interesting case study, because she's mentioned she has 10 brothers and sisters. So 11 kids. They grew up in a small town in North Dakota.
Woohoo.
What town?
Valley City.
Valley City, North Dakota. They were infamous. Everybody knew the Lows, right? But single mom. Dad was around, but it was very much like
he was in jail.
Yeah, but it was like sperm donating quite a bit. So they grew up on the welfare system, like wouldn't have been able to eat, would not have been able to survive. And seeing the success of
everyone,
of all of your siblings is crazy. But that's where it changes my opinion. A lot of people will say, "Oh, welfare, we don't need." Man, that it's never supposed to be the foundation, but it's supposed to assist and help.
It was embarrassing,
right?
To be on it.
It was shameful. Sure. That's the way society was.
My mother had just killed her.
Right.
But what else are you going to do?
Right. But you guys did, and then everybody kind of went their own way. And you started off very much like early on. Pretty left-leaning, right? You were in social work. That's kind of how you...
My mother was a Democrat, so we all leaned that way.
Right.
She also was a Yankees fan, though.
Yeah, it's valid. Yeah.
Mom,
that's the sports. The Yankees are the sports. They're the sports. No, but like seeing what that perspective, and then watching how your life choices and what you did, because it was just work. Even when nobody else was doing it, it was really, really challenging. You just worked your ass off. And then all of a sudden, you see the rest of the world and your perspective changes. So now it's wild, because she does not agree with all of her brothers and sisters anymore about the way society works or what.
I get it. I went through that too. I grew up in a very left-leaning family. Most of them still are. And then I didn't even think about politics much. But once I got into being a cop, like my whole outlook on life changed deeply.
Well, it's like, it's because I've had friends, really good friends, who are left-leaning, and they are fantastic people who stuck through everything with me, even the AutoZem thing, and that whole interaction with government agencies. But anyway, and what changed? I said, it wasn't working. This system isn't working. This left-leaning system of handing out money, not holding people accountable, not actually helping them achieve sustainability on their own. This isn't working. I have to find something else. And then people say, well, I don't get paid until the 1st. Oh, where do you work? Well, it's my check. No, you're not getting paid.
Yeah.
You didn't. And then, so it changed
You
things.
did nothing to earn it.
Much to your father's delight, who used to make us listen to Rush Limbaugh on road trips.
That's accurate. And I grew up listening to Rush Limbaugh going to the lake. I just, 100% right.
But
and he's like, oh, here we go.
Yeah, but we managed to stay together 21 years. So somehow we worked around it. But I don't think this changes everybody's perspective, but it certainly does change a lot of people's perspective. And it's the lack of accountability. We already talked about that. And just creating problems instead of any resolution. I just can't handle that.
Well, what flipped a lot of it for me is we don't have to dive into the AutoZem case, but that changed my mind about a lot of things.
Yeah.
Because
the
listening,
FBI for one.
Oh yeah, but watching what you were going through at the tail end of a storied career.
Yeah.
Watching what happened and how they were able to weaponize the media and completely steer the narrative made me realize that cops don't have any First Amendment rights, no First Amendment protections. And I was so pissed off at how that whole thing went. That's probably what steered me towards, because I'm kind of that's absolutely terrible, and that's a really shitty part about being a cop. Sign me up. Like, that's kind of where it went, which was a fun conversation. Hey, Mom, I'm going to be a cop. You're going to what? You're gonna, yeah.
Yeah, how'd that feel?
Why in the hell would you do that?
That's exactly.
Why would you do that?
Why,
Except that I'm still proud of it.
Yeah.
I'm still proud of it. And even the Zem thing, because they wanted to get a lot of us in something, they couldn't because we didn't do anything.
Right.
So in that respect, the system worked.
Right.
In that respect. But did they ruin lives in the process? Oh, yes, without a care.
Well, and that
And
I think
never thought I'd say that. Have been such a patriot, and I never thought I'd say that, and I never thought I'd feel that. But there it was, right in my face. And you're trying to destroy me, and I didn't do anything wrong.
That's incredibly frustrating.
Oh,
well, it was the Department of
embarrassing.
Justice. I mean, it was literally weaponized the Department of Justice in the city of Spokane and completely took the thing over after they'd already been exonerated from any wrongdoing.
Was there like?
It was an officer involved. Yeah, it was an officer involved fatality. It was a use of force, and he'd ended up. It was probably excited delirium in hindsight.
Oh,
before they knew what that was. Yeah,
exactly. So
but he used his baton, which is what.
Right.
And it was all on video because it was in a convenience store. But video, as we all know, does not tell the story.
No. And everybody went crazy, and then the Department of Justice decided to come in and get their pound of flesh, and it was in an era where the right people were in power, or wrong people at the wrong time, and they went after everybody. I mean, it was like indictments, whole FBI.
Oh my gosh!
And Carl Thompson ended up doing time. The officer.
4 years.
No way.
Yeah.
For a federal violation of his civil rights.
Yes, and this is the same guy that earlier that year got a life-saving award for pulling a guy off the bridge, risking his own life. He was a Vietnam-era vet, absolutely.
Very good cop.
Yes.
But that was towards, it was in 2006, actually. In 2007 was, and I know we're probably running short on time, but that was the only other case that I could think of that was a pretty remarkable one. Involved the dog collar on the girl, the 4-year-old girl. That was, but we knew who did that from the beginning. But the sheer awfulness of it. Oh, I hope I just made up a word. I do that a lot, especially as I get older.
Yeah,
makes sense.
Yeah, awfulness of it was mind-boggling. But yeah, that was 2006, and it didn't go to federal court till 2011.
Wow.
So 5 years of what they did. And I'm not even saying they should not have pursued it. I'm not saying that at all. I mean, they are there for oversight in a lot of respects. But the sheer lack of concern for lives was amazing, especially lives where people had given, God, hundreds of hours.
Here's...
That's okay. Those are the things that make it tough and make, there's a part of me that can see a segment of the job that's like, why am I even bothering if I'm going to be dealing with that shit?
Yeah,
and in your face, and everything you know about yourself is being questioned on a public scale.
That's the most terrifying thing in the world to me.
And over the course of
on the end of that.
5 years, here's what really pisses me off. The FBI is going to judge it. Yeah. They're going to judge your integrity and accountability. That would be like the federal government talking to me about my budget. Like, you have absolutely zero qualifications at all to come into a local law enforcement entity that has more interactions with people on a daily basis than the FBI does at all. Right? We've got how many interactions with people that turn into use of forces per year? I witnessed this when I was with NCIS. Like the sheer reps that we get on patrol. But you get to take this one circumstances, and 60 of you get to sit in a room for 10 months and say whether or not something may or may not have yielded a more positive result, and then go steal lives for it. And the FBI has no room to judge. How about you look in the goddamn mirror? Yeah. You got plenty to look at yourself in-house. Fix your shit before you come to me. That's like the Cleveland Browns coming to a team and telling them how to play championship football. I might listen to that shit from the Patriots. You know what I mean? Maybe. But the FBI has absolutely no business until they clean their shit in-house. And it sounds like they're trying to, but that was what was eye-opening to me, that the federal government can come in with full oversight over a state agency after they were already exonerated by local prosecutors. And it was like, what part of this is freedom? Yeah. What part of this isn't checks and balances. This is tyrannical fucking oversight. Sorry, Bob, you can bleep that out. But that's tyrannical oversight. That blew me away. And then the more I got into it, there was that part of me was like, you know what? I'm going to go be a cop.
Here, I thought we were going to get through an episode without you going on a
I know.
rant.
Sorry, dude. Well,
no, don't be sorry.
Yes.
I want to start. We want a whole spin-off podcast of just Eric going on rants.
Well, Seth winds me up.
Good. They're so good. Yeah. I've learned now how to, I had an old graveyard partner like this. On long nights, you're bored.
Yes.
I would drop a quarter in the jukebox that was his mind and just let him go.
And just let him go.
He does that.
It's like endless entertainment. I have now cracked the code.
Yeah.
Well, he is a passionate guy.
Very.
Yeah.
And, you never want to really curb that. Well, maybe you do.
Yeah, a little bit. Sometimes.
Sometimes. I don't know. Terry, what did you think when he told you that he was getting out of law enforcement to come do real estate?
That was harder.
Yeah?
That was harder because, like I said, I am proud of the career and what I learned from it and blah, 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 all that happy horse shit.
You're good.
Sorry, Bob. And I was proud that he was going into it. I was really proud of both of my kids because he has an older sister, and she went into Explorers first and just killed it.
Yeah.
Just killed it at a time, and she was a teenager, and that's a rough time, and she just killed it. I was very proud, still am proud of her for that. And he did it, and he just killed it. So I'm
did all right.
Look at me. And then reality struck. But anyway, but I thought, oh no, because I knew he was, or at least I believed he was good at it. I believed he was good at it.
I'm pretty sure he was, yeah.
And more importantly, I believed he was probably a good mentor. Mm-hmm. And above all else, this blue blood never leaves your system, ever. And the only people who will ever know that are blue bloods, and that's the truth.
Yeah.
You'll never know it otherwise, just like red or green or whatever. So it's like, the end of the blue bloodline. Oh, geez. Oh, man. And then real estate? What? Where? What? Dave?
Yeah.
Quit talking to him. Leave him alone. Because I knew he could move up if he wanted. I knew he could.
I told you he could be a chief. 100%.
There was no end to what he could do. But as he's heard me say 1,000,000 times, at the end of the day, you need to look in the mirror and be okay with what you see.
Yeah.
And evidently, what he saw was changing. So I had to go with it. And he wanted to be something else. I think he wanted to provide in a different way for his family. So I felt bad about that, but I didn't discourage it.
No.
But I felt a loss because the blue blood line wasn't there anymore. But we still have people in the military, so that piece of me is okay.
There is a loss there in one regard, but I think the greater population is a bigger win from what he can provide now, because his First Amendment rights aren't suppressed. And the angles that we're going with this and the Judicial Watch and things like that, he just wouldn't have been able to do in that capacity.
No, you're absolutely right.
So I think the greater good, right. Yeah. And you couldn't have. I mean, some of this has been figured out in the last few months.
Yeah, so, we wing it, throwing stuff at the wall.
Yeah. So I was curious on your thoughts on that, and I kind of figured you would have that feeling because I look at it from the outside. I never worked with Eric, but in that regard, but I look at it, I'm like, he was bringing a lot to the table, and and I see it all the time when I meet cops that worked with him, and how well respected he was. I'm floating your boat too much right now.
Yeah,
so I'm gonna go kick your ass out.
Oh, don't worry. He'll open his mouth, and he'll have to be humble.
Yeah. But you know what I mean, and seeing that, I'm like, the community is losing a little bit of that. Mm-hmm. But I also take it that he's mentored a lot of people in his image, and probably your image too, because it came down through the bloodline. But
it's funny when she starts talking about being a cop. It's like, okay,
you guys are pretty similar.
Well, because she talks about when she was early and how she would talk people into cuffs because you weren't very big. Like I know
I flapped my eyelashes.
You have to, right?
I taught that in the academy and the citizens academies, which by the way are a blast.
Yeah.
Hey, you use whatever God gave you. If it's long eyelashes, you use them. If it's talking fishing, you use them. If it's talking hunting with the bad guy,
better.
you use them until the cavalry arrives.
Right.
Then you do it peacefully.
It's always better.
Yes. You use what God gives you. If it's a gift to gab, I don't care. But what's the hurry? Why get in a fight?
It doesn't.
I knew I would lose a lot of fights. Why in the hell would I want to get into them? I wasn't stupid. Well, sometimes, but I mean, I wasn't stupid. I didn't want to get in a fight with somebody 6'5" or somebody your size, or maybe even somebody your size. I don't know.
A little shorter. Yeah. But I will put it like this, and here's part of it. And I know we've had long conversations about me leaving law enforcement, and you going through what you went through with AutoZen probably did steer me a little, because I got way more into it. I did a lot more research, and it pissed me off, and I wanted to go be a part of something different. I wanted to be a different kind of cop. Not that there was anything wrong with the way anybody was policing. I just knew that I had a different skill set. Like, throw a little freaking recruiter mode in there. Mm-hmm. But there's a saying from The Office when Andy says, "You don't know when. I wish somebody would tell you when you're in the good times, when you're in the middle." You know what I mean? They're the good old days. I wish somebody tell you when you were in the good old days, while you're in the middle of the good old days. If I could stay a patrol sergeant just doing what I was doing on graves for the rest of my career, and it would stay like that, man, that would be a real hard one to get rid of, just because you get to mentor, you get this level, but you know it's not going to last. And you said before, when you went through what you went through on the case, how did everybody forget who you were before? You had
mind-boggling.
You had a storied career when women weren't cops. I know you're not going to make it about that, but you did a lot of really cool stuff throughout your career. And then how fast they forget. And you realize with social media, and maybe it's some of the people in administration now, your stock value is like cryptocurrency. One day it can be here, and the next day it can be here. And I don't know how we go back to that steadying course. And I realized I'm one bad day away. I'm one bad case away. So why not leave it when I'm here? I didn't want to promote. I didn't want to be an at-will position or a lieutenant or a captain. I get to walk away from it having accomplished a lot of the things that I always wanted to, and I think I would have been miserable if I'd gone up. Because you start investigating cops, not bad guys, and that would have killed my soul. That would have killed my soul.
And it can do it anyway. I mean, you got out for a reason, and you can share it or not, but you get out for a reason. For me, it was retirement, and I married a younger man, so I was able to retire. I was sure I'd die at my desk, right? Because at that time I was on my own. But anyway, point being, you get out if you can get out when you're done, that's a blessing. But to get to how do you keep it stable, how do you keep it the same, it's called mediocrity, which is a word I hate almost as much as trailblazing. And that's the truth. You can be mediocre out there and not worry about what's going to happen on the next case or what's going to happen with the next decision I have to make, because you can just be mediocre and let someone else do it.
I know.
And that's not the place for it. And that's what you would have to sacrifice, I think, is the zest for safety and mediocrity. And in this career, not every situation is okay with just a simple response. It has to be vital. It has to be full of life. It has to be the right one. And you're just not going to make it if you're not experiencing the zest and the downs.
There's easier ways of getting paid. So if you're doing it, you really have to like it.
Yeah.
And do it for as long, and we talk about that because we did the pension trap episode, but do it for as long as it works for you and your family. Yeah. And then bounce. And then go find something else. Like the Judicial Watch has been a big one for me, staying plugged in with the community and being able to talk about that. Because if a judge is making some questionable decisions, I get to communicate that to the rest. And I never would have been able to do that in my last job.
Okay, so maybe you've made me feel a little bit better about him getting out of law enforcement with the positive things he's able to do now.
And to be honest, the ability for us to bring these stories to light, like there's someone out there that's going to listen to this and hear what you talked about, Terry, and it's gonna. You don't know it and you won't feel it. You're going to say that, but trust me, I get the comments that come through and people will be like, that was relatable to me. I mean, we've had people where they're like, you guys saved my life because we're talking about it and we're open about it.
Yeah. And relatable is more important to me than any kind of legacy or whatever.
You're not coming off like that at all. And I want you to know that at all.
don't care about
I'm
that stuff.
pulling stories out of you too, which is, and that's
And
fine.
there are so many, and there
sure.
are funny ones, and there's some about him. But anyway, there are. But I don't know if you're going to be a part. If you're going to be a part of a community, then be a part of the community. Just don't sit back and let everybody else do it, which is what I'm doing right now. But I'll get involved in judicial watch.
You did your time too.
No,
so.
see, I don't feel that way about it because I got so much out of it.
Yeah,
I just
that's
got
good.
so
That means
much
it was a good
out
career.
of it. And I would have kept this, the homicide stuff, it was getting, it turns you a little cold
Sure.
dealing with a lot of the deaths
Sure.
and things like that. But it also got easier in that it never bothered me. Bodies never bothered me because they were already dead.
And when they're grandparents, after that, there will be signs. All right? When your 2-year-old is talking about how he doesn't want to end up dead like the duck.
All right,
because
that was
his
not
grandma
my fault.
finds and then gets into death with your 2-year-old.
Let me tell you some stories.
Yeah, yes.
It was a goose.
Yeah. Oh,
And it had been chewed alive by something down in Florida.
yeah.
And he wanted to know what it was, so I told him.
Yeah.
And the flattened frogs on the street.
Yeah.
What am I going to say? What am I going to say? Oh, it's just a toy?
No, you should tell him
it
all about
something?
your gruesome homicide investigations.
I want
too,
to tell you
so he
about these
understands.
maggots this one time.
I have.
I can tell you
And
exactly how
yellow
long he's been dead.
jackets.
Hey, do you notice the blood spatter on this goose right now? That means this was a violent, traumatic, blunt force trauma swung in this
Here's
direction.
where it tried to defend itself. You can see the claw
You can
marks
see
on
the
there.
defense wounds. Yes. Meanwhile, we lived in a neighborhood, and she taught my son how to pee in the front yard, which he didn't get rid of until he was about
I
13.
want you to imagine a female doing that in the first place. But he
Yeah.
did get the idea.
Yeah, he
Well, why not?
Yeah. Well, he's
Why
fine.
not?
He still
Pretty
does
cool
that.
grandma, I got to say.
Yeah,
Well,
it's pretty legit.
I'm not normal, but
No,
I'm
no,
not
that's okay.
sure that's a bad thing. But
No.
Nope.
works for me most of the time anyway. Well, I think what you guys are, I do agree with you that this is a plus side, and that is being able to be in contact with more people than just, as his girls will say, the bad guys.
Mm-hmm.
And they're all bad guys if they're not cops. So they're learning.
Yes.
No, you don't have to be a cop to be a good guy. But it's not all bad guys. That there are people out there that are wanting to learn. And if you can get people wanting to learn, God, that's got to be 50% of accomplishing your goal.
Yeah.
Right.
It's got to be.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny. I was dropping Trent off at basketball this morning. I said, your Nana's going to be on the podcast. And he's like, really? Why? And I told him a couple stories. He goes, she did that? And I was like, yeah, dude. Like, I told you, your grandma was a badass. Like,
There's something to this too of, one, you guys get to sit down. You probably, I know you have good conversations, but it's not the same when you're not. You're in the head.
She yells at me because I'm on my phone all the time.
I'm moderating that. I'll make sure no one's yelling at each other here. But these stories, the girls, as they get older, they might not be ready to hear them now. Maybe you do tell them, I don't know. But they can listen down the road. And it's preserved.
Yeah, it's the relatable part because
Yeah.
they never knew me that way.
Right.
As a cop, but that's whatever they want to do. I'll tell them.
Sure.
And so they. What do you mean you got shot?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
I said, yeah, but in retrospect, that is not at all what hurt me the most in law enforcement.
Right.
It was the feds.
yeah.
That was so much worse because that was me.
Oh, yeah. It's attacking character.
Yeah.
Which is
Getting shot was just a uniform.
right.
So.
Well, that has been a thing with me adjusting to the new normal. Trent's only ever known me as either a cop or in the military. I became a cop when he was like 3 years old. So me showing up to football practices in kit, with like my exterior vest or right out of SWAT training, I'm still in my uniform and all that. And, did some cool things when I was a cop. And, now it's a transition. Now it's different.
It's like dad's wearing like shirt jackies and
Yeah,
loafers.
exactly.
It's not
Go
cool
shopping
anymore.
at Buckle or
Yeah.
some crap, dude. I don't know what happened to
My
me.
dad
And then
used to be
Yeah,
cool.
then I'm dancing all over Instagram, shaking my butt, dude. Like, I used to be cool. Now it's completely sold out.
Now this is what you get from him.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, 100%. It's like my buddies are always like, oh, did you see your dad's new Instagram? Yeah. Trent, you're welcome for my service. 100%.
Well, I appreciate what you guys are doing.
Well,
that's
thank
for
you.
Sure.
Yeah, thank you.
Any,
was
like I
fun.
said, people want to learn, give it to them.
Yep, I agree.
At least what you can.
Yeah,
And-
unvetted.
thank you for coming on and sharing stories.
It was a good time. There's many, many more.
I know. We could do it again sometime.
I didn't even get that embarrassed this time. That's good.
No.
Well, that's because we didn't talk about you.
That's excellent.
That might be a whole nother episode.
No, I'm totally good with
embarrassing stories of Eric.
I know. Well, like I said, we've referenced it a couple times before.
Standing in the TSA line in uniform.
Oh God, I threw up so hard I burst blood vessels all in my face. I drank way too much 151 on it. Yeah, there was some wild times when I came home on leave. Like there was like the good kid up until I was 16. Man, he was gone in my late teens.
Was.
You and I were very similar in that regard.
I think so. Yes.
Yes.
So what happens to you guys when you turn 16? Is it all hormones?
Testosterone. Yeah, the blood flow comes from this brain.
Yes.
Or this head to sorry, it's your mom. That's awkward.
Oh, no, it's okay.
To the other one.
Oh, she knows.
This is me.
Okay, you're right.
You're right. Okay.
You're right.
And she's still all right. So this is a real question. All right, I want to. Okay, real talk. Do you like me or my spouse more?
Oh dear goodness, it's a risky question.
I know.
It depends on the situation.
100% they get along way better.
You so deserve that.
I could
so deserve
I could see you. Yeah, I could see you getting along with Megan really well.
Yeah.
Yes.
They tend to get along pretty well.
Megan's she is much more malleable. She's much more responsive to my suggestions that are really instructions, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because there is a way to make a suggestion that's very clear.
Yeah.
Yeah, you really ought to do this. And I'm not shy about that. And I know I should be. It's like you don't have to, I'm going to always tell you what I think. You just don't have to listen to it. Mm-hmm. You'll pay, but you don't have to listen to it.
She is not malleable when I make suggestions.
Doesn't work for you, huh?
No, I got to play Inception. I got to plant that seed deep.
I will teach you about presentation.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I definitely need that.
Oh, my goodness.
Thank you guys for having me.
Yes. Thanks, Mom. That was fun.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.